So in order to understand the conflict in Libya, you must understand the history of Africa as a whole. After this time period in which Africans were enslaved by the millions, which is called the Scramble for Africa, the European colonial powers had a meeting in 1884 and 1885. It was called the Berlin Conference. This is where they decided on which European country would get which part of Africa and other parts of the world. And in this process, this is where all the borders and all the nation states of Africa came into being. Thus, you had the creation of Libya. The Italians were given Libya to colonize. And of course, when you have oppression, it breeds resistance. And so the people of Libya, they resisted Italian colonization. They were driven out. In 1941, the British, the U.S., and the French took the Italians' place in those colonies. See, there's been an ongoing war against Africa for at least the last 700 years. In this war, it began the Scramble for Africa. The Scramble for Africa begat several colonial wars, including World Wars I and II. That's why they fought. These European nations fought because they wanted to control the resources of Africa and the other colonized people in the world. They fought for resources. They fought for power. So when the British, the French, and the English took over Libya, they put in place a dictator by the name of King Idris al-Sanusi. And he stayed in power all the way to September 1st, 1969. And that's when our brother Muammar al-Gaddafi took power in the Free Officers Movement of the military of Libya. You know, they lied so much about Africa. They've been lying about Africa for hundreds of years. They said Africa was the dark continent. They said Africans didn't have souls. And Africans needed to be civilized. They were barbarians. The German Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, he says that you tell a lie 1,000 times and the people will believe it. Muammar al-Gaddafi says you tell one truth and you'll smash 1,000 lies. We thank you for that. Libya under Muammar al-Gaddafi has done a lot of great things for Africa and the world. You've heard so many lies about Libya and Gaddafi. And since you've heard so many lies, I'm going to tell you some of the truths about Libya and Gaddafi. Like I said, Libya is overthrew. The Italians who colonized Libya, but they had some new colonizers take their place. The British, the French, and the United States of America. And they discovered this oil in Libya around 1953. And after exploring the oil, the king, who was a dictator, Idris, he squandered the wealth of Libya. Libya was the poorest country in Africa at that time. But when Gaddafi took power in 1969, he asked the president of Egypt, who was at that time Gamal Abdel Nasser, if Libya could be joined with Egypt into a union. And of course, Nasser declined. But Gaddafi and the great Libyan Arab socialist Jamal Hariri took Libya on the path to socialism. And as a result of that, Libya became the wealthiest country in Africa. Libya has free health care, free education, free housing. Libya has the highest developmental index of the countries in Africa, and the standard of living is higher than in England. It's in the top 10 in the HDI. And just a couple of years ago, the United States and the European countries, the United Nations, everybody was praising Libya for all this positive development, and how far they had come in terms of human rights, and so on and so forth, and the liberation of women and all that stuff. But then now you see they are attacking Libya. They are attacking Africa. They're bombing Libya. And hopefully our sister here today, she's going to expose the truth about the real story as to why they came and invaded Libya. Well, I want to tell you a couple of things as to why I think they invaded Libya. Because Libya had been fighting for Pan-African unity. Libya was supposed to host the 8th Pan-African Congress in 1997. In 1990, Libya hosted a meeting where we organized the Worldwide African Anti-Zionist Forum. Also that same year, we organized the the Africans of North America United Front in Libya. Also, Gaddafi was responsible for bringing 65 different native organizations to Libya to have a conference so they could bring themselves together. And I'm talking about the native people of this hemisphere. They went to Libya, they met and tried to get themselves together, and he donated money to them. He's also donated to the Nation of Islam. He's given interest-free loans, millions of dollars. And he also funded the liberation movements in Tanzania, South Africa, SWAPO, PAC, ANC. If it weren't for Gaddafi and Castro, these folks would probably be still apartheid in Tanzania, South Africa today. So he's done so many things, and Jamahiri has done so many things that you never even hear about. We have a fact sheet out on this table I just put out there if you want to read more about the good things, the positive things that Libya and the great socialist Jamahiri has done. Another thing I got to tell you that they did, they put a satellite communication system in the air for people in Africa to use for internet, phone communications, etc., etc. In 2002, they were the ones who pushed hard for the creation of the African Union and to have one passport for all Africa, one African parliament, one African bank, one African currency. And you know, when you unify Africa, you have one currency for Africa, one parliament, one army, one this, one that. That's a threat to the European capitalist economy and a threat to Western hegemony. That's why they fight against Gaddafi. That's why they're trying to kill him and overthrow the Libyan socialist Arab Jamahiri. But we know the truth. And we're going to, true question of earth shall rise again. No matter what happens today in Libya, the truth is going to come out. The truth, seek ye the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Hands up, Libya! Africa must be free! 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 Thank you very much.
Okay, moving right on, Sister Seafood. Before we get to the meat, let's bring some more ancestors up in the house. So y'all want to do people who may introduce our speaker of the day.
Start off, we have some soothing spiritual education for everyone.
I will share it with you. In my heart, I have joy. Let me share with you. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, song that came through inspiration to come and sing. Sister Billy Mead, when as a young girl walking on those Sunday mornings looking for truth, she saw the aftermath of they can. And reaching out, she asked the Most High, what did she do? How can he empower her to solve some of the problems that are falling on our people? So this song is not really a song, it's a prayer. It's an answer to a prayer. It's called Be Yah.
That all of our problems, everybody, every race, every people, is the will that cause matter to be. God's power is the guidance spoken to those who believe. His love compiles the atoms, thus gravity holds you near. Is the zeal that fuels the mind. Imagination colors all mankind. His strength of elimination helps you live your life. It's all that there is. Yeah, is all that there is. Just believe that faith simplify and beyond. Whatever you do, beyond. Trust, believe, have faith, and simplify and beyond. Whatever you do, beyond. Whatever you do, beyond. I will sing. Is the order that keeps peace in your life. God's wisdom is a must for a husband and his wife. God's understanding helps you live without strife. Knowing Yah is all that there is.
always stop by and tell you, I don't know what the brother do with his chicken, but chicken subject, might come at you with revolution, but you can stand to the chicken. We're going to move forward now with Sharon. Sharon and I been working on many programs, working with the Louisville Uprising Committee, able to do some things on death row, some victories on death row that people thought they couldn't happen, made some victories. We also, in the same room, organized the prison summit, and was a victory there. And we worked on many other programs, and so happened we sit down and we heard that our sister McKinney was doing a tour on Libya, and it was necessary that we get some of that information straight from my sister who, when we did the state of emergency for